Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. 27 people have been arrested following a dramatic climate change protest in Hobart today. More than 150 people marched through the city before refusing to budge from an intersection.
Starting with speeches, it wasn't long before Extinction Rebellion rolled into the city. Their message was hard to miss.
It's time for us to do a lot more for the planet, for the oceans, and I think we have the ability to do it.
The trademark costumes were back.
Mate, what are you meant to be?
A jellyfish.
Blocking 2 streets to have a party. For a brief moment, dancing returned to Tasmania. Dozens soon sprawled out across the intersection in defiance of authorities.
I'm quite happy to get arrested for something like this. This is about democracy.
As the protest permit expired, so too did the patience of police.
All right. I'm now formally directing you to move off the intersection.
One by one, protesters were dragged away, some making it as hard as they could for officers. Cheers as one organiser was lifted clear off the ground. Charged with failing to comply with directions, Claire Burgess had no regrets.
By demonstrating our sacrifice, people can see that we're that desperate for change from the government.
All up, 27 people were arrested, including 16 adults and 11 youths.
Look, it's obviously not the outcome that we wish to see. We obviously would like people to have the opportunity to have their voices heard.
Police say there were no charges relating to COVID restrictions. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
In developing news tonight, emergency services are on the scene of a serious 2-vehicle crash at Copping. The Arthur Highway will be closed in both directions for a considerable period of time. Traffic is being diverted and motorists are urged to avoid the area. A 7-year-old boy remains in a serious but stable condition in the Royal Hobart Hospital following a horror crash on the Midland Highway south of Ross yesterday afternoon. The boy's father, sister and great-aunt were tragically killed. Police say a solar panel fell from the roof of a caravan, forcing the car to swerve into oncoming traffic. Fire crews are battling a bushfire west of St Helens after a burn-off broke containment lines. The fire has been burning close to homes and came within 3 kilometres of the St Helens township today. 3 helicopters and 20 crews were involved in bringing it under control. The fire had been at emergency warning earlier today, but has now been downgraded to advice level. A man has been arrested after allegedly dousing himself and 2 others in turpentine at a Belrive petrol station last night. Police were called to the Caltex after reports of a robbery. They soon found the 29-year-old threatening to set himself and a man and woman alight inside the store. He was arrested a short time later following negotiations and is set to face court tonight. A 26-year-old man has suffered neck injuries after a taser-style stun device was used during an alleged altercation in Beauty Point. The man was taken to the Launceston General Hospital in the early hours of this morning with minor injuries. A 41-year-old has been arrested and is set to appear in court at a later date. The countdown is on for many as the state government prepares to reopen Tasmania's borders. Airlines are now scrambling to organise flights in time for the easing of restrictions later this month.
Tasmania's airport terminals have been a ghost town, but the Premier's announcement yesterday to open our borders to safe states on October 26 is set to provide some relief.
Thrilled to get some flights back, thrilled to turn the terminal back on and have the team and the 300 odd people working around the precinct servicing aircraft and passengers again. But the aviation industry has been really damaged through the COVID period, so we think we're probably not going to be much more than 30% capacity compared to last year.
Airlines are now rushing to put on extra flights. Virgin will add flights between Hobart and Brisbane and expects to increase flights between Tasmania and Sydney, while Jetstar will offer direct flights between Tasmania and Brisbane as well as Adelaide. At this stage, Qantas is not scheduling any extra flights and there'll be no flights to the NT and WA. For tourism operator Alicia Roper, the announcement is welcome news, with 80% of her visitors coming from outside the state.
Tasmanian businesses, especially heading into the summer, we're ready to go. Our small businesses, we want and we need people's support to get us through. So it will be great once we do see people coming in and visiting us again.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Longford's newest op shop has opened its doors today, filling the void left by the closure of the town's Vinnie store 6 months ago. The Longford Rotary Club turned the shop around in just a month with the help of a $5,000 council grant.
If you any artistic inclination, you can look at something and you can turn it from what it was into something totally different.
A lot of berry pickers and so on in the place, and so they used to obviously buy a lot of cheap clothes while they're here. It suits them. A lot of them come off warmer climates, so they come to Tassie and need a few jackets and coats.
The Rotary Community Shop is anticipating strong demand as more Tasmanians tighten their purse strings as a result of COVID-19. Clarence has secured its spot in the TSL finals with a win over North Hobart this afternoon. In other matches, Kingborough finished its season with a narrow loss to finals-bound Lauderdale, while North Launceston thrashed Glenorchy.
It was a simple equation for Clarence. Beat North Hobart to play finals. The Roos led by 2 points at quarter time, the Demons wasting opportunities in the rain. Just a goal each in the second, with Clarence up by a point at the main break. Clarence's lead grew in the third, but late goals from the Demons kept them in the game. The Roos, however, held on, keeping their season alive with an 11-point win. That result extinguished the Tigers' finals chances as they took on Lauderdale. Kingborough started strong and led at quarter time. The second quarter was tight. The Tigers were 7 points up at the main break. The margin extended to 15 points in the third, but the Southern Bombers kept in touch with the Tigers, down by 9 with a quarter to play. Lauderdale fighting back in the fourth, edging ahead midway through the quarter. They withstood the Tigers' late pressure to secure a narrow win. And at Utah's, it was top versus bottom. The game all over at quarter time. North Launceston kicking 52-0 in the first term. Glenorchy eventually got on the board, but the Northern Bombers' lead grew to 11 goals by the main break. A 3-1 third quarter extended the margin to 77 points. The Northern Bombers warming up for the finals with a huge victory. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Devonport will play Burnie in the Northwest Footy Grand Final next week after defeating Wynyard by 3 points. Both sides struggled to score early on, with Devonport kicking the only goal of the first half. The Magpies' inaccuracy almost costing them, but they held on to book a spot in next week's decider. And in the TSLW, Glenorchy will enter the finals full of confidence after thrashing North Launceston. After a goalless first quarter from both sides, the Magpies took control in the second term. They kicked 4 goals to nothing to lead by 33 points at halftime. The Northern Bombers kept goalless for the match as the Magpies cruised to a 63-point victory. Sarah Skinner starred for the Victors, kicking 3 goals. The Northern Hawks have won the Tasmanian Netball Premiership, defeating Cavaliers by 11 goals at the Silverdome this afternoon. After a tight first term, the Hawks broke away in the second, leading by 6 goals at half-time. It extended to as much as 10 in the third before a late charge from the Cavs narrowed the margin to 6 goals at the final break. A 19-14 final term, helping ease the Hawks' nerves, winning the Premiership 75-64.
Good evening. 23 at Burnie today, Launceston 22, Hobart reached a high of 20 and 18 at Devonport. 28 was the state's top at Flinders Island, 23 across Wynyard and King Island, St Helens 24 and 17 at Lyweenie. On the close-up shows patchy cloud about the northeast while a cloud band covers the remainder of the state. Further out, mid to low-level cloud covers WA and parts of the east coast of Queensland. Tomorrow shows a front continue to slowly move across Tasmania, while several troughs sit over the top end. Westerly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and around 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for northwestern coastal waters from Sandy Cape to Stanley. and a flood watch warning is current for most Tasmanian river basins. Tomorrow's forecast now: rain and 15 across Hobart and Richmond, ooze reaching a high of 16. In the north, Launceston reaching 21, rain about Devonport and Deloraine. Burnie and Strawn tomorrow, rain 15 at Curry. St Helens, rain at times, Swansea 20 and Whitemark cloudy and 22. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast Monday, rain about the northeast, easing to showers by the afternoon. Tuesday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. And Wednesday, showers about the west and far south, developing about the northeast in the afternoon. Capital City is 21 and partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. Darwin mostly sunny and Brisbane reaching a high of 26. And currently Hobart 13 and showers, Launceston and Devonport 16 and cloudy. That's all for weather tonight.
And that's all your news for this Saturday evening. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.